about just some basic frequency responsive FIR filters and just talk about a couple of things that you see in these cases. Now, the first thing is we're going to realize we're going to look at three different impulse responses. And an impulse response is basically just what's the response. If I put in an impulse, I'm going to get these results in this discrete form. And so I'm going to get one case where they're both equal, to make it one where they're opposite sizes, but one right after the other in time, and one where I've got a 1, a 0, and a 1, or minus 1 on it. Now, you might remember that one way that you would talk about what's my frequency response in these cases, is that I have the ability to say, well, let me take this coefficient, and then I'll take this coefficient and I multiply it by 1 unit delay in the sampled frequency. So that's going to be an omega hat. So that's what's going to be h of omega hat in this case. So when I have them that they're one off and different, it's going to be 1 minus e to the minus j omega hat. So that's going to be the same thing, but the coefficient's now minus 1. And then where I have 1 and a 0 and a 1, the 1 still shows up as a 1. The 0 gives me nothing in a coefficient. And the 2, the second one at 2 is going to give me a minus 1 that gives me to minus j omega hat. And you think, okay, but I kind of have some sense of what I could do with this, because I always kind of keep my eyes out for cosines and sines. It gives me ways to get into real functions here. And so one of the things I notice here is that this 2, the 2 cosine omega hat over 2 basically comes from basically pulling out e to the minus j omega hat over 2 out of this. So I get half of it from here, I get an extra one there, it gives me a sum for a cosine. Similar thing here, I get a sine. Of course, I don't want to forget my j, because the j is going to be important. And then over here, and that's a j omega hat over 2. But here, because they're spaced 2 apart, I get a full j omega hat. And in the inside here, it's omega over 2, omega hat over 2, and just omega hat here. Works really well, and there's a whole bunch of really neat things when you take a look at this.